Hey adventurers, it's Phoenix. I hope you're doing well. Today actually might be one of the last days I call you adventurers. We're potentially getting a new community name, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So welcome back to another video. I think I'm going to call this Pax Dei Chronicles, just because it's something that I've been doing kind of as like a news story type of feel. So stick with me on that, but just wanted to give you a few updates for the beginning of August, as we are we're one day closer to alpha. So just a few updates to go over today, and then a couple of discussion topics that I have for you later. So the first and the biggest one is that it is August 4th, and we are still kind of in that summer vacation season for the developers. So there's actually not really been a whole lot of a recent FAQ updates to even share with you, because a lot of those folks that would normally provide us updates or have been providing us updates, they're just not in the office right now. So stay tuned for more. I'm sure we'll be getting some soon, and then we'll have more to talk about. But yeah, so the big one again is that the developers are still on summer vacation. So with that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of where we're at currently as a community, as a, kind of as a game as a whole. And that is right now, there is currently, as far as we are aware, still going on the internal family and friends alpha testing, or pre-alpha testing, I guess you could call it. And we've seen several screenshots, as time has gone on, of progress being made, and we'll look at a few of those even later in the video. And then in terms of what's coming next, we know that as of last month, Mainframe announced that there will be a public alpha sometime in 2023. And I speculated back then, I think it's going to be sometime mid to end of September, maybe even early October. And I still hold to that because of some of the reasons I explained in that video. But basically, it's coming sometime in 2023. That's all we really know. So it could be December 31st, although that would be really weird. So all that to say, we're still in this waiting phase to learn more about the game, to learn more about what's going on with the various systems that might be placeholders, and we're still getting some sneak peeks that are coming through from Mainframe, just not as much as there were prior to the summer holiday. So that's where we're at right now. We're still waiting. So one of the things I mentioned at the very beginning of this video is that I might not be calling you adventurers much longer. And that's because some of the folks from the community team for Mainframe recently put out a question about what should we call ourselves? Because I know I have been calling us adventurers, but there hasn't been one collective name we've really settled on yet. And so that's going to be put to a vote. So this last week, they were asking for suggestions, and there's a whole long list of creative, very creative, and super creative names that we may potentially call ourselves. And I believe that's going to be put to a vote sometime today. As of the recording of this video, it still hasn't been up, so we'll see what we call ourselves. But I'm going to stick to adventurers for now because that's what's comfortable. So let's jump into the next one, the next piece of information, and that's that we have some more leaks. So first thing I want to call out is that Tab created this really awesome leak. So leek has been, it's a type of onion, I think. But it's something that we've kind of joked around with. It's sort of a inside joke, so to speak, on our Discord server. And so Tab created this really awesome emoji. You can go find it in the Discord. We've seen quite a few more leaks, leaks being, they're approved leaks because they're from the developers themselves. But we're going to take a look at some of those here. All right, so the first one here is a very obvious screenshot of what appear to be some sort of ruins. And so we're going to zoom in on this a little bit and just kind of observe. So my first thought was, oh, this kind of looks like an observatory, just with a rounded dome. And I don't actually think that that's what it is, but that's just the first thing that came to my mind. And it looks like back here, I don't really know, this almost looks like a little shrine of some sort. Not really sure what to make of this, but it looks really neat. You can tell it's obviously, it's had better days, so to speak. So this is the first screenshot, but in the background, and we'll see a little bit more detail on this in just a minute, but you can see what appears to be a pretty sprawling city. I mean, frankly, it looks like there's pieces that are kind of jutting into the water here. It almost looks like a port of some sort, which I think is really cool. Even though we don't have boats, or boats haven't been confirmed as being part of alpha anyways. But there is a significant building going on here in the background. I also noticed there's a smaller building off to the left here. So maybe the folks, are friendly or whatnot, but, and you got a few other buildings out here, but this looks to be larger than the previous building or previous village that we saw in the last set of big screenshots that were released. So I think that's really interesting. This next one is, the primary focus was the bunny in the Discord server when this was released, but you can see this looks to be another slightly closer shot of what I'm just going to call a port. So you can see there's significant building here, things that are jutting out into the water again. I'm not really sure what to make of this in the background. Maybe this is like unfinished construction here. But overall, like this looks to be pretty significant size, which I'm really excited about. I think this is just another screenshot. I'm going to scroll back here. So I think this is another screenshot, probably down here on this little hill, because you can see some of the rounded shape of what I'm calling an observatory. So I think this is just another shot, again, kind of being able to zoom in on this port that's over here. And I mean, just look at the view, it's it's so awesome. It looks so great. This was another screenshot, and this was posted as part of the just another leak from the developer, kind of looking down on this village that's being created down here. Again, just focusing more on the fact that there are, several building locations, some that look complete, some that look in progress, just pretty neat. And I believe this was actually a progress shot of another screenshot that I'm not sure I have for some reason. Oh, I do have it. I think I just have them out of order, so apologies. So here's the other screenshot. So this is a slightly different view, but you can see there's definitely more buildings that are not finished here. So this was a kind of a before and after shot of some of the progress that's out here. So internal family and friends are still playing, they're still building, even while the developers are on vacation. So I think that's interesting because it makes me wonder, the server must be stable enough, or the folks are comfortable enough to leave the office, go on summer holiday, and let the players continue to play. That's encouraging to me. It doesn't seem, obviously we don't know because we don't hear about any of the internal issues going on, but for Mainframe to feel comfortable enough to leave the servers on, so to speak, for folks to play is really cool. And then we did get some new screenshots just today about what the admin team or community team is calling the trap. And I found a couple of interesting pieces here. So first off, there is a shadowy figure definitely back here. This is another perspective from the announcement video when they were actually fighting. Like the only combat footage we got was basically in this same POI location. So it looks like they're revisiting it for some reason. What's interesting in this next screenshot is that there is a book that's on this table. There's a candle too. And I just saw the developer post that it is an interactable book and it's a placeholder. But it's interactable, which is something we haven't heard yet. We were under the impression that books would not even be included up front with the alpha. So this is interesting. It's a new piece of information that we haven't heard yet. The page itself in the book looks really interesting. Somebody suggested that, maybe it's kind of a logographic language, I think is what you call it. And basically it's more akin to like a character as opposed to words, is the quick and dirty version of what I looked up. But basically meaning that the language itself is more like character-based instead of letter-based is what I've gathered. So it's interesting because, like I said, books were not something that were supposedly going to be included early on in alpha, potentially more of like a public launch type of a thing. But it's a new piece of information, so that's awesome. And then the last screenshot we got was just another perspective of the previous, just seeing that there's a couple of players here that are watching and waiting. And I mean, just look at the detail on some of the, the trees and the bark and just the ruins. I know some of this is probably static and not so much like interactable. You know, we probably can't do anything with the ruins, but the fact is it's still there and it's pretty neat. Okay, so that about covers it for the screenshots that we got. So there's just a couple other pieces of information that the developers are, I think, working on or quote unquote releasing, and that's about character creation. So we haven't seen a whole lot in terms of character creation yet, and I know that there's a spectrum of what people have preferences on. So I did a quick video recording of one that's, you know, fresh on my mind, and that's New World, because that's something that I still currently play. But New World has what I would consider a kind of in the middle in terms of character creation versus something like Valheim. Valheim is very, very simple. There's only a few options. New World has a few more options in terms of hairstyles, you know, facial hairstyles, body styles. There's games like Final Fantasy that has things like height, muscle tone, skin color, iris size, jaw, face. Like there's a whole, like I said, there's a whole spectrum of character creation design. So I'm curious what you think about and what your preference is. Do you prefer to have a game like Valheim where there's like little to almost no customization? Something more like New World where there's a little bit of customization, but it's very, very, you know, not very, it's limited to, you know, what the options are. Even like a color, you can't pick and choose an actual color from a color wheel, for example. It's just defined colors. Or do you prefer a game that gives you essentially full customization, where you can, you know, use sliders to adjust sizes of different body parts, hairstyles, things like that? I'm just curious what you think. So all that to say, the developers are, it sounds like, working on some sort of an AMA or an FAQ about character creation. So hopefully we'll get some screenshots included with that. And then we'll just be one step closer to alpha. So the last little bit of information I wanted to just plug and remind you is that we are number 75 on the Steam DB wish list, or on Steam's wish list. So if you're watching this video and for some reason you haven't wish listed PAX Day yet, please go do so, because that helps Mainframe out. That helps obviously like our community grow. Just more visibility out there will get more folks in the door. I don't know, maybe Mainframe doesn't want that. no, I'm kidding. Of course they do. But we've been at 75, 76 for a little while now, because we haven't had a whole lot of information coming out because the Mainframe devs have been on vacation. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what you think about character creation. And with that, I want to wish you a happy Friday and a happy weekend. I hope you get some time to relax, recharge. And until next time, we'll see you on Discord. Take care.